Bhagava Arahang Samma Sambuddho Swakhato Yena Bhagavata Dhammo Supatipanno Yassa Bhagavato Sawakasangho Dhammayang Bhagavantang Sadhammang Sasanghang Imehi Sakkare Yatarahang Aropitehi Abhipojayama Sadhu no Pante Bhagava Sujira Parini Botopi Pachima Janatanu Manasa Ime Sakare Dugatapanna Karabhote Patikanhatu Amhakang Dikaratang Hitaya Sukhaya Arahang Samma Sambuddho Bhagava Buddhang Bhagavantang Abhivademi. Bhagavata Dhammo Dhammang Namasami. Bhagavato Sawaka Sangho Sanghang Namami. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato ma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Okay. If you press the button on your mic till it turns green.
Dear friends, welcome to this Kathina Day at Dhammadharini Monastery in Pen Grove, California. We have a very special welcome on this early morning for the two chief donors of the Kathina, Shirley Kwok and Shari Gent. Special appreciation for the many volunteers who have made this day possible, who are at this very moment as we speak, having organized the beginning of the meal dana, having made the arrangements for the sewing activity that will be happening a little bit later to create the Kathina cloth, and having organized for the Dhamma teachings that will be offered during this day. I think what would be suitable right now will be to offer the 8 lifetime precepts for Shari and Shirley. This is a renewal of the 8 lifetime precepts for Shirley, and it will be the first time that Shari will be taking the 8 lifetime precepts. From this day forward, Shari will be known by the Pali name of Sampurna, which means complete and fulfilled. And Shirley is already. I received the Pali name Upasamaya. Next. Everyone. I don't see any other people. Maybe they could take, since we're running late, maybe they could take the 5 precepts at 10:30, 10 o'clock. Okay. If you are ready, please put your hands in Anjali. I'm going to lead you in making the request for the precepts in Pali. If you want to hold the book up, like, oh, you've got a microphone and a book and so many different things to hold on to. Okay. Please repeat after me. Okasa ahang aye tisaranena sadhim ajivatamakassilang dhammang yachama anugraham katva silang detame aye. Tutiyampi okasa ahang aye tisaranena sadhim ajivatamakassilang dhammang yachami anugraham katva silang detame aye. O tatiyampi okasa ahang aye tisaranena sadhim ajivatamakassilang dhammang yachami anugraham katva silang detame aye. Would you read it one time in English? Yang ahang vadami tam vadeta. Please repeat after me. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa.
Bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa.
Homage, English. Homage to the blessed, noble, and perfectly enlightened one. Homage to the blessed, noble,
and perfectly enlightened one. Homage to the blessed, noble, and perfectly enlightened
Buddham saranam gacchami.
Buddham saranam gacchami.
Dhammang saranam gacchami.
Dhammam saranam gacchami.
Sanghang saranam gacchami.
Sangham saranam gacchami.
Dutiyampi buddhang saranam gacchami.
Dutiyampi buddham saranam gacchami.
Dutiyampi dhammang saranam gacchami.
Dutiyampi dhammam saranam gacchami.
Dutiyampi sangham saranam gacchami.
Dutiyampi sangham saranam gacchami.
Tatiyampi buddhang saranam gacchami.
Tatiyampi buddham saranam gacchami.
Tatiyampi dhammang saranam gacchami.
Tatiyampi dhammam saranam gacchami.
Tatiyampi sangham saranam gacchami.
Tatiyampi sangham saranam gacchami.
Tisaranagamana sampunang. The 3 refuges are now complete. For the precepts, repeat the line after me for the Pali, phrase by phrase, and then read off the English meaning of each precept. Panatipata Veramani.
Panatipata veramani.
Sikkapadang samadhiyami.
Sikkapadam samadhiyami.
Read the English.
I undertake the training rule to abstain from taking life.
Adinadana Veramani.
Adinadana veramani.
Sikkapadang samadhiyami.
Sikkapadam samadhiyami. I undertake the training rule to abstain from taking what is not given.
Kame sumikchachara Veramani.
Kame sumichachara veramani.
Sikkapadang samadhiyami.
Sikkapadam samadhiyami. I undertake the training rule to abstain from sensual misconduct.
Musavada Veramani.
Musawada veramani.
Sikkapadang samadhiyami.
Sikkapadam samadhiyami. I undertake the training rule to abstain from false speech.
Pisunaya Vakchaya Veramani.
Pisunaya wachaya veramani.
Sikkapadang samadhiyami.
Sikkapadam samadhiyami. I undertake the training rule to abstain from malicious speech.
Parusaya vachaya veramani.
Parusaya vachaya veramani.
Sikkapadang samadhiyami.
Sikkapadam samadhiyami. I undertake the training rule to abstain from harsh speech.
Sampapalapa veramani.
Sampapalapa veramani.
Sikkapadang samadhiyami.
Sikkapadam samadhiyami. I undertake the training rule to abstain from useless speech.
Mikcha ajivacha.
Micha ajivacha.
Surameraya.
Suramira.
Manjapamadhatana cha.
Maja pamadatana cha.
Veramani.
Veramani.
Sikkapadang samadhiyami.
Sikkapadam samadhiyami. I undertake the training rule to abstain from wrong livelihood and from intoxicating drinks and drugs causing heedlessness.
Tisaranena sadhim ajivatamakassilang dhamma samadhiyitva sadhukam saratitam katva apamadena sampadetabam. You have well undertaken and kept these 8 lifetime precepts together with the 3 refuges. You should strive with diligence.
Ama aya, yes aya.
Silena sugatim yanti, silena bhoga sampada, silena nimbutim yanti, tasma silang visodhaye. With morality, good rebirth is gained. With morality, wealth is achieved. With morality, perfect peace is attained. Therefore, morality should be purified. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.
Excellent, excellent. Sadhu.
Now, I have a something here, which is very shiny. It says, this document is to certify that Shari Gent undertook the Buddhist 3 refuges and 8 lifetime precepts, Ajivatamakasila, with the Venerable Acharini, Venerable Somanatari, at Dhammadharini Monastery in Pengrove, California, on October 15, 2022, as Sampurna, complete and fulfilled. And then at the bottom of this is a very quick and short version of the 8 precepts, which, as we said before, you can post this up where you'll see it every day. And each morning when you go out and each time when you come in, take a look at this and remember that you're going to make the effort with these precepts when you go outside the house and when you come inside the house. There seems to be a table in the way. Trying to come up. It's okay. You could come up.
Satu, satu, satu. Mhm. Okay. Yes. Would you like to have your mic on so that we can, so that your MCing can be heard?
We can see now that the sky is turning from black to gray. The dawn has arrived, and it's allowable for the offering of the robe cloth. Are we expecting?
I will do the chanting of the robe cloth offering with you. If you are ready to bring the cloth over. I have it. Oh. Well, we have some beautiful trays coming here. Everyone touching the trays to share in the merit of the offering. This is the Kathina cloth, which is the most meritorious. Oh. Oh. All right. So are you able to hold those while you do the chanting, and then we'll offer on the table here, and everyone will come and receive after the chanting. Is that okay? So if you're able to hold those in with your hands in Anjali while you chant, or not in Anjali, that's fine. And then we'll. So you're going to chant first and then offer.
Can she put her paper on top of the tray while she's chanting?
Okay. So I will say Namo Tassa 3 times, and then you repeat after me. Namo Tassa Bhagavato Arahato Samma Sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Okay, and now repeat after me, little bit by little bit. Imang aye sapariwarang Kathina dusang Bhikkhuni sanghassa ono jayama Sadhu no aye Bhikkhuni sangho Imang sapariwarang Kathina dusang
Kathina dusam
Patigan hatu
patigan hatu
Patika hetwacha
patiga hetwacha
Imina dusena
imiwa dusena
Kathinang
katina
Attaratu
ataratu
Amhakang
amhakam
Dikharatang
dikaratam
Hitaya
hitaya
Sukhaya.
sukaya.
Then in English.
Homage to the blessed, noble, and perfectly enlightened one. Homage to the blessed, noble, and perfectly enlightened one. Homage to the blessed, noble, and perfectly enlightened one. Venerable Bhikkhuni Sangha, we present this Kathina cloth together with its accessories to the Bhikkhunis community. It would be
Tassa Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Mike.
Sunatume aye sangho
Idang sanghasa kathina dusang upanang yadi sanghasa patakalang sangho imang kathina dusang sobhanaya bhikkhuniya dadeya kathinang attaritung esanyati sunatume idang sanghasa kathina dusang upanang sangho imang kathina dusang sobhanaya bhikkhuniya deti kathinang attaritung yasmato kamati imassa kathina dusassa sobhanaya bhikkhuniya danang kathinang attaritung sotunhassa Yasana kamati sobhaseya. Dinang Dinatusang Sobhanaya Bhikkhuniya Katinang Attaritum Kamati Sanghasa Tasmatunhi Evametang Dharayamaiti.
Venerables, let the Sangha listen to me. This material to the Sangha. If it seems right to the Sangha should give this material for the Kathina cloth to Sobhana Bhikkhuni
for
making Kathina cloth.
This is the motion.
Venerables, let the Sangha listen. Kathina cloth has accrued to the Sangha. The Sangha is giving this material for the Kathina cloth to Sobhana Bhikkhuni for making Kathina cloth. If the giving of this material for Kathina cloth to Sobhana Bhikkhuni for making Kathina cloth is pleasing to the Venerable Ones, let them be silent.
Anyone to whom it is not pleasing should speak. This material for Kathina cloth is given by the Sangha to Sobhana Bhikkhuni for making Kathina cloth. It is pleasing to the Sangha, therefore they are silent. Thus do I understand this. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. So, the Sangha has formally bestowed the cloth upon Ayasobhana, and she is then able to come receive it and can begin sewing. It's a bit much. Okay. Two. All right. Yes. Yes, I don't know. Would you be able to help take this cloth? And meanwhile, I think there might be a breakfast spring. Oh, sure. Yes, do we want a photo of Ayasobhana with the cloth here? And no, clean up a little bit here. Okay. All right. So for our friends here in person and for the online viewers as well, just a brief overview of what will be happening for the rest of today. So far, we've had early morning arrival from several of our, several of our wonderful friends, including our primary donors here, Shari Gent and Upasamaya Shirley Kwok. I suppose I should say Sampurna Shari Gent and Upasamaya Shirley Kwok. They've both undertaken the 8 lifetime precepts and have offered the Kathina robe cloth to the Bhikkhuni Sangha. And the Bhikkhuni Sangha has bestowed this upon Ayasopana, who has spent the Vasa here at Dhammadharini Monastery and is a highly qualified bhikkhuni who knows how to make a robe. And so she has taken that cloth away and will begin the measuring and cutting. And there will be an opportunity for people to be helping with the sewing a little bit later. Each person, if they like, can put a stitch or two into the robe. Next up, we're going to have the breakfast offering offered by some of our friends who I see them, maybe they're already over there. After breakfast, we'll take a sort of break in the program for the eating time. And then we'll come back and there'll be opportunity to see how the sewing's going, to hear a few words from our visitors here from Aloka Vihara. We have Aya Anandabodhi Terry and Aya Santachita Terry, and we might invite them to share a few words about what they're up to. They're having some big changes going on, so we'd just like to hear from them about that a little bit. There will be a morning Dhamma talk about the meaning of Kathina. We'll have the meal offering for everyone at 11 with refuges and precepts and Buddha Puja first. At 1:30 p.m., we'll have a Dhamma sharing program with words of welcome from some of our board members and community members, and also brief Dhamma talks from each community member. At 3:30, we'll have a parade with the robe. Whether it's done or not, we'll have the parade at that time, and blessing chanting and Sankadana. And then we will continue with sewing if needed, with Dhamma talks, with community sharing. So it will be a full day of lovely things. And next up is the breakfast offering. And I think, well, if the breakfast offering is ready, I don't know if anyone would come invite when it's prepared. Mhm. Well, yes, maybe we could just arahang together. Samma Sambuddho Bhagava Buddhang Bhagavantang Abhivademi. Wakato Bhagavata Dhammo Dhammang Namasami. Bhagavato Sawaka Sangho Sanghang Namami. Okay, we are receiving an invitation to breakfast. Sadhu, sadhu. Okay. So the Bhikkhuni Sangha has gathered to receive this offering. Everyone can come together and lift the table. And yes, we'll have to do it one table at a time. Yes, usually. So when you're all ready, you can all lift together the table. All right, very good. Ready? All hands on. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. And can this way. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. And then we didn't do this one yet. All right. Yep. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Okay, and we'll offer a blessing and then we'll receive our food. Oh, Ayasopana, yes. Would you like the microphone? Here. Okay.
Please keep in mind your dedication of merits for the day and the purity of your hearts and the power of your dana, the power of your good merits today. Sabaroga niminuto
Sabasanta pavajito sabaveramati kanto niboto chatuang bhava sabitiyo vivajantu sabarogo vinasatu mate bhavatwantarayo sukhi dikayuko bhavapiva kanasili sanichang wodhapachayino jataro dhamma vadhanti ayuvanno sukhang balang. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Okay, so the bhikkhunis will receive their food. We're taking a break from the online program and we'll see you back in a little while. And welcome to turn that camera off for now. See you soon. Just an announcement. Welcome to our Kathina morning. We're going to be beginning the robe sewing and community sharing time of our morning program. In just a minute, let's see, I'm going to take the camera inside the building and show you what's happening with the sewing of the robe. Early this morning, some of our most dedicated friends came to Dhammadharini Monastery and they offered the Kathina cloth to the Bhikkhuni Sangha, and the Bhikkhuni Sangha has bestowed the cloth upon Sobhana Bhikkhuni Teri, who spent the Vasa here at Dhammadharini Monastery. She has taken that robe cloth inside and is beginning to cut and measure it. And in a minute, I'm going to take you inside on the camera and show you what's happening there. After that, we'll be gathering out here in the Dhanasala at Dhammadharini Monastery. And we'll have a few words of sharing from our visitors from Aloka Vihara. We have here Ananda Bodhi Teri and Ayasanta Chitta Teri, and they'll give you an update on what's going on with them. They have some big changes going on at Aloka Vihara, and we'll hear from them a few words. And after that, there will be a Dhamma talk from Ayabrahmawara Bhikkhuni, who was with us here for the entire Vasa at Dhammadharini Monastery, but has had to fly away a few days ago due to being on an ESTA visa waiver to visit the country. She can only be here 90 days. So she's not able to be here for Kathina in person, but she will be giving a talk, a recorded talk that will be on the meaning of Kathina. So we'll have her here with us, at least her image and voice to share in Kathina. So yeah, so that's our program for this morning. And I'm going to mute myself here and take the Kathina cam inside and see you there inside soon to see how it's going with the robe. So here we are at the backyard of Dhammadharini Monastery, checking my sound. So here we have Ayasopana, hard at work on measuring the robe.
Yes. Well, I have what the pieces will look like when they're cut and marked and before they are sewn up. Look like this. We have removed the very long pieces that create the bottom. And ready from the two sides. We've got this very long piece and somebody's nicely sewn out. Already in the water there. So this is ready to attach at the very end of the day. And Indra, as we have a marked one here, where we have marked the pattern of what's called the cookie lines, which is marking out. Now these are the paddy fields, and these are the pathways in between the paddy fields.
So she's beautifully pressing them in. So in a few minutes, it will be time to do the stitching. Now I'm working on cutting the second piece. There will be 3 pieces that will be all sewn together. Okay, so that's all.
Okay,
Thank you.
all right. Oh, okay. All right, so that is our Kathina Cam report, and we will now be going back out to the yard, to the Dana Sala, where we'll have some words with the community members out there. I'll be back there in a minute. All right. So, welcome everyone. We have here with us our 2 honored visitors for the Kathina. I have Ananda Bodhi Terry and Ayasanta Chita Terry, and they've come to us from Aloka Vihara in the Sierra Foothills in Placerville. And they're here for the day to support us with our Sangha Kathina, and I think they're going to help with some sewing a little later. They might share some Dhamma a little later. But for now, while there's sewing ongoing in the other room, this is a time for community sharing. And this is one of the meanings of Kathina, is for building community. So we're just happy to have them here with us. And we'd like to have a chance to check in with them about, you know, hearing what's going on at Aloka Vihara. They've got some big changes recently and upcoming. And I'd like to invite them to tell us about that, just so we can all learn what's going on with our good friends. And so welcome, thank you.
Thank you. So thank you for inviting us, and we're gonna be actually here till tomorrow morning when we're gonna go on our way Sacramento to support the Kathina at the monks monastery there, the Sri Lankan ABS temple, and Bhante Shanta from ABS temple has been particularly supportive for our ceremonies in the past. He was at our Bhikkhuni ordination in 2011 at Spirit Rock and has shown up at every Bhikkhuni ordination so far we have been. And we really appreciate the monks as well. And also Ayatata Loko has been our Pavatini for our Bhikkhuni ordination in 2011. And we have our 11th anniversary on the 17th in a few days. And that's the day, you know, when I'm going to actually move out from Aloka Vihara Forest Monastery. And as many of you might have already read or heard, we have decided that we're going to put the property on the market. We have decided that together with our board, of course, and we're going to put it on the market because it's just a very fire-prone area, which has become more and more fire-prone over the last 5 years. And it's very difficult for a small Sangha of women to keep that property safe. And that's one of the reasons why we have decided that. And in that big change, you know, I have decided that I would like to start my own small place. It's not going to be a monastery, but rather like I'd call it a contemporary temple space. And I want to call this Aloka Earth Room. So I'm going to take the Aloka bit of our name with me. Aloka means clarity. And that's a contemporary temple space which will be dedicated to the synthesis of Dhamma, ecology, and art. And we have found a rental property in San Rafael, which is about less than 30 minutes drive from here, actually. And that rental property is about 15 minutes walking from the smart train and the bus main station in San Rafael. So it's a very good location. And it's near to Gersel Park. It's near to everything what I need, in order to be there. And I want to develop that rental space into the Earth Room with the help of an Austrian artist, and also with the help of a few local women who have already committed to help me with that. And I hope towards the end of the year, I'll have more clarity, when it's time for the Earth Room to really, opening its doors. People can come by already earlier, but it'll take some time because, I want to paint that temple room in a very kind of intentional manner, so that the space itself will be a support for what I think is a really important step for humanity to take. Because I think we don't really know who we really are, and we don't really understand enough, that we are part of this planet. We are not separately just walking around on it, but we are part of it, and our root system goes deep into it. And I think that's the next step, for human beings to take in terms of developing, evolving, and, becoming more integrated with the way things really are. And I think the Buddha's teaching is an excellent toolkit to support that process. And at the same time, it adds, of course, another element to it, which is the element of actually stepping out of that whole circle of coming and going, which we call samsara. But that needs to be done, as far as I understand it, that needs to be done always in response to systems we are involved in. So just like now, I'm gonna for a moment stop. There's a big, I think, working for one's own liberation from samsara needs to be in call and response with what's going on in samsara. At the moment, we are working on our minds, because I think, the whole question of practice, we can't really take a teaching from the Iron Age India and then try to recreate that here in the 3rd century on the American West Coast. But I think we need to update, and we need to find contemporary ways to express the teaching, and to also allow ourselves, to allow innovation, really. And I think the Aloka Earth Room will be such a place. And I'm thinking back to my first teacher, Ajahn Buddhadasa, who has been a very influential monk in the last century Thailand. And he was such an innovator. And when I stepped into his monastery for the first time in April 1988, I was deeply impressed by the harmony, between what was going on in the world and how he had been able to communicate the Buddha's teaching. And I was particularly kind of intrigued by a teaching space which was called the Spiritual Theater. That was an art gallery, which was used for explaining Buddhist concepts such as the Four Noble Truths, the Eightfold Noble Path, and so on. And when I saw that, it really deeply landed in my heart, because I myself have a background in the arts. And I thought, when I grow up in the teaching, so to say, which has taken a very long time, then I'd like to kind of do something similar. And I think the Aloka Earth Room is the beginning of that. And in a way, the fires which have come to Aloka Vihara Forest Monastery have opened the door for that to happen. So, we don't really know if something is good or bad, because it depends how you look at it. Yeah, so we are having very big changes going on in the monastery, and it's not for the first time that we have like some really deep changes. When we needed to leave the Ajahn Chah lineage, in 2009 we left from England, and then 2011 we became Bhikkhunis here with Tataloka as our Pavatini. That was also a very deep sea change for us, and it has worked out really well. And I trust, that this next change also will be what's needed, because it comes from the heart. It's not something which is just like a story I've thought out in my mind, but I've been allowing that to grow in my heart for a very long time. And I'm glad to be able to have the support from the Sanaloka Foundation, and also from Ananda Bodhi, who has been co-founding Aloka Vihara Forest Monastery with me, to do this, because I don't think there's anybody of that, anything of that nature out there yet. So I think I was always hoping somebody else would do it and I could support, but it hasn't happened. So I have to do it myself now. And yeah, and I'm glad, that the Dhammadharini nuns are quite close by here. So we can keep visiting each other and supporting each other for ceremonies. And so I'm handing over to Ananda Bodhi now, and thank you for listening. And please visit our website, with our newsletter for updates in regards to the Aloka Earth Room. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, Ayasantachita. That's wonderful. I like the part about just doing it yourself. I've had that too. I wanted somebody else to do something for me, and it doesn't quite work out. So congratulations on that. Ananda Bodhi, interested to hear from you too. How's it? What are you up to?
So it's interesting that line about wanting to support someone else to do it and having to do it oneself, because it's the same for me in terms of the forest monastery. I was felt when I lived in England in the Amaravati and Chittas monasteries, where there's a very strong hierarchy between the monks and the nuns, and it's sort of reminded on a daily basis. The nuns are reminded on a daily basis that they're junior and don't have a proper place really in the Sangha. I always felt like, it's really important that the women have their own place. And I wanted to support someone else to do that. And then in the end, it's like, where are all those people who I thought were going to do it? Okay, maybe I have to go ahead. And so it's an experiment. It's been an experiment, and it continues to be. In fact, the whole Bhikkhuni order in 21st century America is an experiment. And so for me, there was a beautiful ideal of a forest monastery, which I lived in. I lived in forest monasteries before, and an idea that it would be possible just to sort of recreate what I knew in the UK, kind of recreate that over here. And there are other, so like Aranya Bodhi obviously is a forest hermitage connected with Dhammadharini, and then Karuna Buddhist Vihara also have a forest monastery. So there are bhikkhunis doing that. And, being a foreigner, not really knowing the lay of the land, we ended up choosing a forest in an area that has become quite a serious fire hazard now in the last 5 years, really. So the county, El Dorado County, where we live, where Aloka Vihara Forest Monastery is situated, it's recognized that over the last 5 years, the climate has changed drastically, and there are more and more fires, forest fires happening. So the danger of forest fires is much higher. And so the more I looked into, because I really love nature, I have a really deep resonance with nature. And for me, nature is a teacher. It is the Dhamma is taught by every leaf and every flower and every bird for me, and rock even. So so I've been interested in what is the ecology actually of this area, of the area where we live, and what is the natural way. And the natural way is for fires to go through the forest every 10 years or so. That's how it would have been in the old days before the natural wildfires were suppressed. Then I was reflecting on, well, what does it mean to be a forest monastic, to live in a forest monastery or a forest life? And, in the old days, it would have been literally just wandering in the forests of Thailand for the bhikkhus, being very, very secluded, having very few duties, not having to maintain anything other than one's robes and bowl and body and mind, of course, mind essential. And it would have been a sort of quite a simple life, if not a hard life, but a simple life. And now what I found, we have a property that needs to be maintained, two properties, two buildings, and forest that needs to be maintained, and trees that die of beetle, bark beetle, that if they're close to the house need to be removed, which of course is expensive. And so it turns out that it's actually an enormous amount of work having a forest monastery. And then of course we have visitors, guests coming through, and then we're also teaching and sharing the Dhamma and have our community time. And when you add it all up, it becomes a very busy life, and there's a lot to do. So what we've found is that for the monastics, this hasn't really met their need. So it meets the needs of many people, and Aloka Vihara has been a refuge for many people. And the land itself is treasured really by quite a number of people, myself included actually. And yet to live there day in, day out for the monastics themselves, it's been morning till night work much of the time. And so there's a movement away from that model to explore a way of practice that is it's still in a monastic life, it's still a Bhikkhuni Vinaya, still the Buddha's teachings, but in a way that can be a little bit lighter, that can provide more opportunity for quiet and for stillness and for practice, as well as sharing the Dhamma and sometime in community. So it's an exploration. So we're in our next phase of exploration of that. So Santachita, as she mentioned, is going to start the Aloka Earth Room, which is a very unique and innovative venture in a way that's very timely. And Ahimsa, who's been, just wait for this to go by. Ahimsa has been part of our community for the last 6 years, and she has been mostly quite behind the scenes, apart from the sutta contemplation, her weekly sutta contemplation, which is very popular and which she's going to be continuing. She's been very much behind the scenes, but she's been the one who's been taking care of much of the sort of organizing maintenance and fixing things and making sure everything's, like the painting is done when it needs to be done. And so she's been a real stalwart behind the scenes, taking care of the monastery nun, which is what those are very precious nuns that people often don't see, but integral to running of a monastery. And so Ahimsa has decided, she's 62, and she's decided she wants to go back to her homeland, Canada, and have a quiet place to practice. And she has been invited to stay at Canmore Buddhist monastery and community in British Columbia. Alberta, thank you, not British Columbia. I don't know Canada very well at all, in fact. So in Alberta. And so she's on her way to go and live there. She's left Aloka Vihara now, is about to go on retreat, or actually just started retreat for a month. And then we'll go to this very quiet hermitage in Alberta where all being well, she'll have much time for practice, and she's made great merits. So may they fruit for her in her next stage of her monastic life. And Ayana who's been with us for 3 years, who originally trained at Dhammadharini. They are about to go on retreat for a month, and then we'll be back at Alokavihara until the end of the year, and then we'll take 4 months of retreat, and then we'll be traveling to different Buddhist monasteries and communities and countries to explore, in much in the way that the bhikkhus get an opportunity to. Often the bhikkhunis don't get that opportunity, so Ayana is going to be doing that for the next step of their monastic life. And for myself, so I will be at Alokavihara until January 15th, together with Anagarika Bethany, who is here today, not right here this moment, but you may see later on, and as our steward Cynthia. So the 3 of us will be there until the 15th of January. And we will be doing the last phases of preparing the house, the property for sale. So we're actually going to let go of the property. And my plans are not to make plans at the moment. So, you know, I came over to the US with a lot of energy and intention and idea of what I wanted to do and how it might look. And we've worked really hard, and we've kind of made a certain, you know, it's manifested. And yet it's manifested on the physical level, and yet there's something missing on the practice level. So my main plans are to take a sabbatical in 2023 from June through November in the Pacific Northwest, in the Washington State, in a quiet little area where I don't know anybody, and practice. Really, that's my main intention. Probably in the early, I'll also be visiting my family in January. My mum will have her 90th birthday in January, so we're going to gather to celebrate my mother, my dear mum, and then probably have 2.5 months or so in the Bay Area, you know, to reconnect with those who supported us from the beginning and spend some time still offering teachings and still being engaged before the sabbatical. And so that's the sabbatical is from June through November. And then in December, I'm also doing a little bit of teaching. I said the tutor and I will teach the New Year retreat online, as we do every year, either online or in person. And then I'll have another few months of sabbatical, which I haven't really planned yet, but probably will be more a little bit more adventurous on the external level. So those are my plans. So mainly drawn to quietude, simplicity, deepening the practice. And also in regard to the Vihara, you know, many people are sad that it's going to go and wonder why we're selling it and couldn't we give it to somebody else. And we've given it a really good go there. We've worked really hard. We've done our very best, and we wouldn't recommend to give it to someone else, actually, unless you have a big team of people who have, you know, lots of muscle. We wouldn't actually recommend to pass it on that particular place.
I really second that. You know, myself, I'm going to be 65 next year. So it's just not sustainable, really. So I think, you know, our board will take very good care of what's happening, you know, to this land and to the house. And our board is committed, you know, to support Bhikkhuni ordination for women. And Ayana Bodhi and myself, we are the spiritual directors to the Sanaloka Foundation. And, you know, and anyone who would like to join either through Ayana Bodhi or through me, they can approach us, you know, when the time is right, when the sabbatical is over, and also when the Earth Room is opening its doors. And yeah, and it really at this time it's just a little breathing space for all of us, a little time to decompress and just allowing the Dhamma, to speak to us and see what is the appropriate thing to do now, because we don't need to rush anything.
We might need to tip the camera just a little, but we can just also introduce our third member of the community here, who's here, Anagarika Bethany.
You want to say something? Bethany drove the
That's the really important detail. Hello, I'm Anagarika Bethany. Very happy to be here. Joined the Aloka Vihara community just at the beginning of September. I took Anagarika precepts. And yeah, delighted to be visiting Dhammadharini.
Okay. So get myself in the camera here, maybe. So I just want to say thank you for sharing. I've been hearing things about what you're doing, and it's nice to hear from you. And I think it's exciting. I know there's some loss involved, but also I really feel inspired to see so many different things growing, like all these different forms of the monastic life, that it's not just one thing, and that you're all going for where your heart is in monastic life and developing that. And then that's a strength, right? There's more options, more paths. So, we'll keep going with our forest hermitage, and it's true, it's a lot of work. But if each of us does our part in the monastic life, then I think that's a strength. And I'm glad, I'm really happy for all of you, actually.
Thank you. Thank you very much. I just want to say when the Venerable Kathina is saying about the forest hermitage, and that it is a lot of work. Kathina is a dab hand with a chainsaw. It's a very important skill to have when you live in the forest. It's sort of a natural, seems to be a natural quality for Venerable. Not to the same degree though.
And I have no interest to get on myself.
Okay.
Yeah, we need to have many
enjoy
skills
it.
to live the monastic life. And I agree, it's we're like for the Bhikkhu Sangha, because it's been going for so long unbroken, there are so many opportunities, so many different styles, different countries even you can practice in, different ways, different teachers. And for the Bhikkhunis, we're just starting to make that possible. We're a bit like seed pod, just popping out, and different seeds landing in different areas that can benefit people in different ways. And as a tea lover myself, got a cup of tea here. I was interested to learn that I think this is correct, that the tea plant, that there's just one tea plant. Tea is just a tea plant, but where it grows, the soil it grows in, and the kind of climate it's in, and how it's processed, makes it into all of these different teas that we can drink. Yeah, so like you can have, even green tea and black tea and so on. They all begin from the same plant. Mm-hmm. And depending on where they are living, where they grow, and what the environment they grow in, they manifest differently, and then you get all of this wonderful variety. So that's natural. So the Bhikkhuni Sangha, I think, is the same. It's like, we're all Bhikkhunis, and then where we are, what environment we're in, what teachers we're with, and then we take on a different flavor. And then some people are drawn to this flavor but don't like that flavor, and some people are drawn to that one but don't like the other one. And so then there's more possibility for an attuned place for practice for more people, all being well. That's the wish.
And also, I think also more precision in really targeting certain problems or issues or patterns one has, And precision is a definition for love, you know, to take that care and to take that time to be able to really in a precise way address something, rather than, you know, kind of trying to fit everybody into one box. And then, because that's just not, it's working to a certain degree, but then at one point it doesn't work anymore, and that's okay.
All right. Yes, thank you very much for sharing. And I know I promised you a chance for some sewing or a little rest as needed. I know you've been all working very hard the past few weeks to get all this prepared. So thank you so much for sharing. And I'll let you take the time for what you like to do with your Kathina day. And yes, so there is an outdoor sewing station on the other side of the building. I'm letting all of you know out there, anyone who would like to put a couple stitches in the robe, you don't have to do a lot. It's just kind of nice so everybody can join together and just do a little tiny bit, whether you know how to sew or not. And that's on the other side of the building in the gazebo. I'm not sure if they're done with the cutting and measuring yet, but if anyone wants to go over there and scope it out, you're welcome to go see if they're ready for some sewing help. And in the meantime, you know, we've been talking about all these sort of explorations of new ways of living the tradition. But we're now going to have a talk from Ayya Brahmavara recorded on Kathina, which is one of the oldest traditions. So the thing that we're all grounded in, the thing that's bringing us all together here today, we're going to hear from her about the meaning of that tradition. And I'm going to go and start that video. She can't be here with us today because of needing to leave the country due to 90-day ESTA visa waiver, but she has sent us a recorded video on the meaning of Kathina, and I'm going to go get that started. Hang on.
Greetings, everybody, on this most auspicious day of Kathina. Respects to Ayya Tataloka and respects to Ayya Sobhana, and greetings to all other venables, seminaries, Anagarika, and all good lay friends here today for this great occasion. And I'd like to say a few words on Dhamma, and particularly to speak a bit about the Kathina ceremony, its meaning and history, and a little bit about the sort of schedule of the day. And first, I'd like to begin by paying respects to the Buddha, Dhamma, and Sangha. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Buddhang dhammang Sangha Namasami. So the Kathina ceremony is a kind of celebration of the practice and commitment and determination of the monastic Sangha over the past 3 months of the Vata to have spent time in one place practicing. Oftentimes during the Vasa period, there's a focus on practice, meditation, retreat time, and also study of the Vinaya, the rules that the Bhikkhunis follow. And it's a lot of rules. And so we really need to investigate and study the history of our Vinaya rules, how they came about, how we can apply them skillfully to our present day situation. These rules that have come down to us from the time of the Buddha, nearly 26 centuries ago. So we can still relate to the rules very well and use them for our guidance, protection and support. But it's really a study, lifelong study, to really understand and consider each and every one of the 311 Vinaya rules that we follow. And also the Vata is a time for deepening practice, because it's helpful oftentimes to stay in one place and to make this determination that each year to have 3 months where we're essentially not moving around, not traveling unless there's a particular need, such as an ordination that needs supporting, or sometimes there can be sickness in the family, close family, and we can, in such cases, go to offer support to ailing relatives. There are a few reasons why one can go away during the Vasa, but generally we stay put. We have a limit to our going away, for instance, to teach Dhamma or to ordain another Bhikkhuni, a new Bhikkhuni, as we did during this Vasa that's just ended. A few of us went to Virginia to support the ordination of Dhammadharini Bhikkhuni. But when we do go away, then we have to only be away for no more than 6 dawns. So we need to not overextend our time away and go away really for the least time possible during the Vasa. So this determination to be in one place is a great opportunity for us to settle and to have a chance to deepen our meditation practice, to spend more time in community, often to work on samadhi, work on harmonizing, on learning how to skillfully be together in community. This is a great benefit and boon for us as well in our practice, to learn how to harmonize with others and to work with developing our understanding of community dynamics, of human beings, of the human heart. And so there are many ways in which the Vasa is a great benefit for us, this time of stillness, this time of stability. And so the Kathina comes at the end of the Vasa season, the 3 months of Vasa. And there's a sense for many of us that, oh, this period of Vasa is over, so now it's time to feel more free to move around. I myself have come to England to be with family. Actually, I would have been present for the Kathina ceremony if at all possible, because it's very good for us to celebrate, to participate in the Kathina ceremonies together, all those of us who've lived together in community over the Vasa period. It just so happens that for issues of legal issues, I have to leave the United States so as not to overextend my stay on a non-visa waiver, on an ESTA, which only allows for 90 days in the country. So I had to shorten my visit to comply with the regulations. And of course, the Vasa, being 3 months, is about 90 days long. And so I couldn't stay beyond the Vasa time. But otherwise, whenever possible, we would normally be all present to participate in the Kathina ceremonies and take part in the practices of the day, which I'll speak a little bit about soon. So the Kathina is like the culmination or a celebration of the Vasa time. And it's the time of robe offering. So we've now that the Vasa's over, we've entered the robe offering season. And the robe season continues for some months now, into the winter. It's a time when the Bhikkhunis are allowed to receive cloth in order to kind of take care of our clothing requisites. So the robes that we wear, we need to keep them in shape. We need to repair them if they get torn very quickly. Actually, within a few days, we need to repair any tears in our robes. But if our robes are getting worn, if they're needing to be replenished, then this is the time for us to receive cloth when it's offered. And of course, the lay community are also very aware that this is the robe offering season, particularly those of you from traditional Buddhist countries. This is the time when we can receive cloth in order to make robes. And on Kathina Day today, we have the opportunity to choose one amongst us who has been practicing with us during the Vasa period, who can receive the robe offering on behalf of all of the Sangha. So today, people are very kindly offering many things, including robes. Most importantly, perhaps, robes are being offered, cloth is being offered, rather, in order to make robes. And we can choose one of our number to receive on behalf of the Sangha a robe. And this robe must be made up from cloth by the community who are present on this day to sew and craft one of the 4 robes of a bhikkhuni. And we would normally choose to have either some kind of jacket made, or which would be a vest, or we would choose to make outer robes, a sangati or uttara vasika for one of us. And the robes are not very quick and easy to make. They're actually quite complicated because of the traditional paddy field design, which requires a lot of sewing in straight lines, creating seams in a very particular pattern. It's quite a specialized piece of sewing. And the great thing about this occasion is that we have just until dawn of the next day, dawn of Sunday in this case, is the time that we have to complete the robe. There's a time limit, there's a kind of time pressure, and there's also an encouragement for us to all participate to some extent in the making of the robe. Oftentimes, there'll be one particularly skilled sewer in the Sangha who may take it upon themselves to offer to make the robe very quickly on the Kathina day. But it's very nice and often the case in community that people like to contribute to this auspicious robe making event. And it's really lovely when everybody actually takes part and does some part of the sewing. There are so many stages involved, from the receiving of the cloth. There's often a necessity to wash the cloth, to shrink it. So it needs to be washed, it needs to be dried quickly, it needs to be ironed, it may need to be dyed. And having prepared the cloth in these different ways, then there needs to be a kind of somebody who's already prepared to measure out the size that's needed, having checked in with the person who the cloth is being donated, given to on this day, for whom the robe is being made, to get their measurements, to measure out, calculate the various sizes of the fields in the design of the robe. And having then got the measurements, the robe needs to be marked with the pattern, the design, carefully And having then got the measurements, the robe needs to be marked with the pattern, the design, carefully double checking, usually triple checking along the way to make sure that there's no mistakes made. And once the pattern has been determined, the cloth has been marked, it can then be sewn in stages gradually. And there's a certain order to the sewing of the paddy fields in the main robe design, the outer robes, and the Antravasika, the Uttaravasika, and the Sangati all have the paddy field design. And so for each of these robes, there's a particular order in which one has to sew the lines. So it's quite a complex process, and it requires concentration, focus, which is wonderful because these are qualities that we want to develop. So we really need to tune in to the robe making, and those who are involved in the process need to be able to just quietly get along with their work. And meantime, all around them, the Kathina day is unfolding. So I know that at Dhammadharini today, on this special day, there is a kind of schedule, and that actually the robes will have been offered already. So there's going to be an offering of the robes at dawn or soon after dawn. I'm just having a look here to see. Breakfast dana will have happened at 6, and then refuges and precepts at 6:30. This is very wonderful, especially for those who are on the 8 precepts long term. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu to you. And then the offering of the robe will have happened pretty early on, before breakfast. This is wonderful because, of course, it gives time for those who are sewing the robe to be able to really focus on the task and have a spacious day, so that there's no significant time pressure for this great project, this great undertaking. Now, once the robes have been made, there is a ceremony just for the bhikkhunis to be able to come together and acknowledge what has been done, what has been offered, and to then make the offering of the robe to usually one of the senior nuns, not always, but certainly the nun who is chosen to receive the Kathina cloth, the Kathina robe on this auspicious day, is a nun who is known to be an exemplary nun, a nun of very high caliber, who is very highly regarded by the other Sangha members, and who is learned, who is knowledgeable in the Dharma, who is following the practices, keeping the vinaya, living an exemplary life, an impeccable nun, who is also able to convey the teachings to others. And so in these ways is someone who supports the Sangha, who supports the Buddha Sasana. And so this is an acknowledgement of practice well done, of a life well lived, of a member of the community who we respect, who we look up to, who we learn from, and who is of great benefit to us all. And it's an acknowledgement that is rarely kind of made, and certainly this really is the one day of the year when there's a kind of public affirmation for one of the community, that, you know, they are esteemed, they are revered by all those around them, and that their life has benefited many others. And it's very lovely that we can together celebrate one of us. And in doing so, we can really reflect that this is a celebration of the Buddha, this is a celebration of the Dhamma, this is a celebration of the Sangha, because these refuges and the Vinaya, the Dhamma Vinaya, the life of a Bhikkhuni is something that we all can appreciate, and that it is not personal. This is not about individuals, it's certainly not about personalities. The person who is chosen to receive the Kathina cloth is not necessarily a well-known Bhikkhuni or a great teaching Bhikkhuni, not at all. The qualities that we really venerate in the Sangha, of course, are qualities such as patience, endurance, kindness, humility, the ability to take care of others, the willingness to be an example and to help others along in the holy life. So these more humble qualities are really of great significance to us when we live together in community. And the person who receives the Kathina cloth can also be a person of high standing, a person who is well known, well regarded, and who is a well known Dharma teacher. This is also completely acceptable, but does not always have to be the case. So just to say a little bit more about the schedule for today, I can see that the meal is a little bit early. Meal preparation is happening from 10, and then there's more opportunity to take the refuges and precepts, the 5 precepts, for all our lay friends who are present around 10:30, and then we have the offering of the meal at 11. What a wonderful morning of affirming precepts, coming together and preparing to take food together. And then after the meal and a little bit of quiet time, perhaps a time actually for people to catch up with one another, to enjoy being around the monastery, on no doubt a very lovely, I hope a very lovely day, sunny day, because it's almost always sunny in California and warm at this time of day. May it be so for you all. And then having had a little bit of easy time, open time, free time to connect with others, to have a walk around the monastery, to do whatever you need to do, and also for those who are participating in the robe making, to be quietly getting along with the sewing. Then at 1:30, there will be the beginning of the ceremonies with welcomes from the Dhammadharini leadership and from the Kathina sponsors, and then some contemplations, some short reflections from many of the members of the community about the theme that we've had this Vassa. So this Vassa, we have focused our attention on the theme that was chosen by Ayasobana. And this theme is Stop the War. Many of you will be aware of this because you'll have been following Ayasobana's teachings over the course of the Vassa. And so in Dharma talks, in meditation, guided meditation, and also in sutta studies, we have been really focusing our attention on this theme, stop the war, or we could say making peace, how to be peaceful, how to avoid conflict, how to bring harmony and peace into the world. And this has been an incredibly rich theme. So people will be inspired, no doubt, from all the studies that we've been doing during the course of the last 3 months, Vassa, to share some reflections on what has been learned, what has been investigated, what have we been able to understand and contemplate and reflect upon this theme of the causes of conflict and the ways to avoid, to resolve, to move through any kind of conflict so that we can avoid any kind of escalation and coming back again and again through these teachings, through the investigations that we've done, and also through our lives together in community, coming back again and again to the place of harmony, place of peace, to make peace with one another again and again. Just because we're wearing robes and we've taken all these precepts and we're following all the Vinaya rules doesn't mean that we don't occasionally rub up against one another and have, experiences of disagreement, of some kind of friction happening between members of the community. This is very normal. This is to be expected when we live together so closely, work together closely, and we're not necessarily very compatible. We're not necessarily people who would have chosen to live together if we were living in lay life and following our desires. No, we come together because we have a shared aspiration for liberation. And this can sometimes mean that people who are very dissonant in some ways are put together and live together very closely. And it's just inevitable that there will be friction, there will be disagreements from time to time. We will feel uncomfortable around one another from time to time. And so it's just so valuable for us to be able to appreciate, take in, absorb the teachings of the Buddha, which are many, on these issues. Until we're arahants, we're going to come across probably from time to time some kind of sense of unease around others. And the Buddha has given us so many ways in which we can kind of chart our course through choppy waters and come back to the still, calm, unruffled way of being together. And this requires forgiveness again and again, letting go of grudges or any kind of negative mindsets around one another, starting afresh again and again. And so I'm looking forward to these reflections from others and also giving a short reflection myself on this theme of the Vassa, Stop the War. How wonderful that we can conclude the Vassa with this kind of summary of what's been learned and understood on this topic. And then we have, aiming at 3:30, Kathina Road Parade, and my very good wishes for all those who are participating in the sewing of the robe today, that it can be done, that it can be well done and ready at this kind of point in the afternoon, whatever time it may be, for the parade, the road parade, which I look forward to observing, watching later on from the UK. And then after the road parade, of course, there will be a chance for everyone to come together out in the Dhammasala and around the Dhammasala, and offerings can then be made to the Sangha sometime around 4 also in the afternoon or tea time, people will have this opportunity to make offerings. This is a very auspicious day for offerings to be made. And when giving, so helpful to give with full attention on the act of giving and watching the mind, looking at the mind and composing the mind as we give and reflecting inwardly on the merit that is being made and on the sharing of merit with anyone and everyone who we wish to share the blessings of our happiness, of our goodness, of our generosity with. So this is a very strings attached, but rather to give knowing, understanding the benefits of generosity and to celebrate that. And then we have, there'll be blessing chanting, Anumodana blessings, and following on, there will be more sewing, quite possibly, Dhamma talks and community time, while waiting for the robe to be finally completed. So how wonderful. And it may well be that the actual robe sewing will continue through after dark, into the evening, and perhaps even into the night. But whatever, there's an opportunity for everyone to help and to use the energy, the inspiration and uplift of the day to kind of motivate and energize the operation of finishing the robe in time before dawn. And I'm sure actually that the robe will be completed long before dawn on Sunday, with all the good sewers that we have present today. So yeah, the Kathina ceremony is something that's been happening since the time of the Buddha. Quite remarkable that it has continued through so many centuries, and it's a very lovely way for the fourfold Sangha, the men and women in robes, and also lay men and women, to be able to come together, to be able to enjoy a sense of something ending, the end of the Vasa, something, a constant reminder that things are changing all the time. We're constantly moving. There's no rest, there's no stillness, there's no stagnation, there's no stopping this relentless wheel of samsara rolling on. And in the midst of change, in the midst of this human predicament that we find ourselves in, of beings who are born to age, get sick and die, we can come together and reflect on the Buddha's teachings. Most importantly for all of us, we're here today because of the Buddha. We're all followers of the Buddha, and we have a chance to come together thanks to the Buddha in our different ways, and to mutually benefit one another in the Buddha Dhamma. How wonderful is that? For the monastics, it's, as I've said, a time of celebrating the Vasa that we've spent together and moving, kind of marks a turning point, moving to the next phase of the year. And perhaps for many of the monastics who are present today, particularly our visiting monastics from Alokavihara, there's a sense of change, of letting go of previous habitations, previous dwelling places, moving forward. And often After the Vassa, there's a moving forward through traveling, relocating, and going to different places, even for a short time, is something that's required for the bhikkhunis at the end of the Vassa. And perhaps a sense of stepping into the unknown. So from a fairly, for us, 3 months is quite a long time, fairly settled way of being to something more uncertain. And this is another thing that we can usefully reflect upon at this time, how unpredictable and uncertain actually all of our lives are, not just the samanas who have no home, who have no possessions apart from taking care of our robes and taking care of our bowls. We are free, like the birds in the sky, to go from place to place and to appreciate how uncertain, how unstable this world is. And so reflecting on change and reflecting on uncertainty, reflecting on the unpredictability of our lives is something we can do very usefully at a time like this, when we all come together to mark an occasion, noticing that we're marking beginnings and endings. And isn't life composed quite simply of a series of beginnings and endings, beginnings and endings? One can say that actually every moment there's a beginning and an ending. And it's very helpful to consider this, to notice the truth of anicca in each and every experience, because it helps us to come to the core teaching of the Lord Buddha, his most significant way of enabling us to wake up to the truth of to the Dhamma, which is to see that when there is such impermanence as a reality, when there is constant change and uncertainty as a reality in this realm of samsara, this world of birth and death, then it's really not possible for us to hold on to anything and consider it to be in our power, belonging to us, me or mine or myself. It really is very difficult for us to hold on to this delusion when we consider the constant change that is apparent all around us. This understanding of the reality of anatta, of not self, is also something that we can usefully reflect upon today, and in fact every day, to help us to not hold on to or identify with that which is dying, that which is already broken, that which is decaying, that which is no refuge for us. Samsara, in short, it helps us. Uncertainty, anatta, the impossibility of identifying with any of the constantly changing, flowing reality around us. And then we can, start to appreciate the value and notice the inevitability of letting go of our grip on anything that we have been liable to identify with, letting go of our sense of self, letting go of our sense of control, letting go of our sense of ownership, and lightening, therefore, our load, lightening the burden, freeing ourselves up, lightening the heart, and enabling us to more and more fully come to live in the reality of now. Simply this. How could it be any other way? This is how it is. And just to wake up to the way of it, to the way things are, and to make peace with that. Our whole theme, as I've said, this Vassa has been the theme of making peace, stopping the war, And this really is ultimately the way for us to fully make peace, is to live in the reality of the way things are, to wake up to anicca, impermanence, to anatta, not self, and to let go in this way of all the causes of suffering in this world, to be people of peace, to be those who are able to offer peace and harmony into this world and thereby benefit all those around us, all our families, all our friends, all our acquaintances, and indeed to be able to benefit all beings. So these are just some words on Dhamma for this special day. And I've said a little bit about Kathina. There's so much more that can be said, and so much better said. And I hope that you'll all enjoy considering what this day is for, what the meaning is of this day, and to also enjoy each other's company, to support one another in practice, in living a life kind of immersed in, imbued with the Buddha's teachings, and how we can find our way to integrate the wonderful, blessed teachings of the Lord Buddha, the Buddha Dhamma, in our lives. All of us doing our best to find our way to peace and happiness. May we support and help one another every step of the way, and celebrate the beauty and the benefits of Sangha today. On this most auspicious day, I'd like to offer my respects again to Ayatollah Loka, and also to Ayya Sobhana, and to our visiting Terries, Ayya Anandabodhi and Ayya Santachitta, with great gratitude and appreciation for all of you and for everyone who's gathered here today to celebrate the Kathina.
Okay, so sadhu, 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 anumodami, with a lot of appreciation for Ayya Brahmara's talk and sharing on the meaning of Kathina. Welcome to all our guests who have been arriving during this time. Looks like we're still just trickling in. A few I know yet. So gradually, we're getting to critical mass with our guests. But welcome to all. Let's see. The next thing on our schedule for today is offering the refuges and precepts for those before the meal offering. It looks like we might not be quite ready for that yet because not everyone is here yet. So I welcome you to sit and meditate, to greet each other, to check out the, we have over here a wonderful offering from our friend Diane, who has donated her entire library to those who are coming here for Kathina today. She's a very mature Buddhist practitioner for many years. She's coming towards end of life, and she wanted her books to be sort of contributed for anyone who would like to be here today and receive one of those books. So welcome to take a look at that. Welcome to just sit quietly. I may take our Kathina cam over to the other side of the building and see how the sewing is going. But I think right now we're just basically waiting for all the people to arrive. So settle in, welcome, glad to see you all. And we'll be having refuges and precepts followed by the meal offering in not too much longer.
see that this special photo's got this one thing, so the edge is going right there. That's what keeps it. Stuck.
All right, here we are for Kathina Cam. Would you like to say how it's going there, eh? Excuse me. Right.
I'm not doing it as good as she did.
Oh
Well,
well. Well, this is the joy of Kathina, that we all get a few stitches in.
she's
And,
going to see the difference.
well, it's a memorable robe that comes out of this.
I got a little crooked there.
Okay, don't worry.
You can see the crookedness, but now I'm trying to straighten it out.
What's what makes it a Kathina robe? Is that it has many hands.
Many
and
hands,
stuff?
many hands.
Right. So what point are we up to in the sewing here, eh?
Well, we're doing pussy lines. This is the last one, so that I hope that by the time this one is ready, that I'll be ready to join it to the other two.
Oh, okay, so it's coming along.
It's getting a little better.
Ready to put the panels together. All right, thank you for the update. So, greetings, friends. Inviting everyone to come over to the Sala area for the refuges and precepts. Today, this is going to be offered by our brand new Bhikkhuni, Venerable Dhammadharini. This might be your first time offering precepts as a Bhikkhuni, is that true?
It was the second time, but I never give a precepts near to the lay people as an international people. Just used to be give to Cambodian.
Okay, so it is a first time then, but this is one of the fruits of our vasa that we had in ordination, and we now have this, or two actually, two brand new bhikkhunis who are able to help us and to offer the precepts. So
Right.
welcoming everyone to come over. Welcome to be in this canopy area over here or on the side of the Dhanasala. And Venerable Dhammanusari is going to lead us in the refuges and precepts, and then we'll be giving a brief talk on the meaning of the precepts.
Well, so good morning, everyone that have a chance to come early this morning. And if any of you would like to come and take a 5 precepts, please join. So before I want to give the 5 precepts, I think as a Buddhism, we already know what is a 5 precept, and it's a good thing for our living rule that we have to protect ourselves. So like Sikkhapada is training. So this word for us to train. So we must sustain our mind to be mindful of whatever we're doing. I think most people know about this already. And I'm not very good of speaking English. So anyway, we start to give a precepts, and then would you mind to be follow after I repeat? And first we have to pay the respect to Buddha first, as usual. So we bow 3 times to the Buddha and say Namo Tassa 3 times. and I will repeat English after this. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. You can repeat after me.
Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa.
Homage to the blessed, noble, and perfectly enlightened one. Homage to the blessed, noble, and perfectly enlightened one. Homage to the blessed, noble, and perfectly enlightened one.
Homage to the blessed, noble, and perfectly enlightened one. Homage to the blessed, noble, and perfectly enlightened one. Homage to the blessed, noble, and perfectly enlightened one.
Tisaranena kahanang pare punnang. This is the 5 precepts I going to follow. Panatepada Veramani Sikhapat.
Refuges?
Refuge. No. Buddhang Saranang Gacchami.
Buddhang Saranang Gacchami.
Dhammang Saranang Gacchami.
Dhammang Saranang Gacchami.
Sanghang Saranang Gacchami.
Sanghang Saranang Gacchami.
To the Buddha I go for refuge.
To the Buddha I go for refuge.
To the Dhamma I go for refuge.
To the Dhamma I go for refuge.
To the Sangha I go for refuge.
To the Sangha I go for refuge.
Tutiyampi Buddhang Saranang Gacchami. For the second time, to the Buddha I go for refuge. Tutiyampi Dhammang Saranang Gacchami.
Tutiyampi Dhammang Saranang Gacchami.
For the second time, to the Dhamma I go for refuge.
For the second time, to the Dhamma I go for refuge.
Tutiyampi Sanghang Saranang Gacchami.
Dutiyampi Sanghang Saranang Gacchami.
To the Sangha, for the second time, to the Sangha I go for refuge. Tatiyampi Buddhang Saranang Gacchami. For the third time, to the Buddha I go for refuge. Dutiyampi dhammang saranang gacchami. For the third time to the Dhamma, I go for refuge. Dutiyampi sanghang saranang gacchami.
Dutiyampi sanghang saranang gacchami.
For the third time to the Sangha, I go for refuge.
For the third time to the Sangha, I go for refuge.
Di saranena kahanang parepunang.
Ama aye.
The 5 precepts I'm going to follow. Panatipada, Veramani, Sikkhapadang Samadhiyami.
Pranatipata veramani sikkhapadang samadhiyami.
I undertake the precept to restrain from taking the life of any living creature.
I undertake the precept to refrain from taking the life of any living.
Adinadana Veramani Sikkhapadang Samadhiyami. I undertake the precepts to refrain from taking that which is not given. Kamesu michachara veramani sikkhapadang samadhiyami. I undertake the precept to refrain from sexual activity,
Sensual misconduct.
Sexual misconduct.
Take the precept to refrain from sensual misconduct.
Musavada Veramani Sikkhapadang Samadhiyami.
Musawada veramani sikkhapadang samadhiyami.
I undertake the precept to refrain from false and harmful speech.
I undertake the precept to refrain from false and harmful speech.
Sura Miraya Machapamatadhana Veramani Sikkhapadang Samadhiyami.
Sura Meraya Majapamadatana Veramani Sikkhapadang Samadhiyami.
I undertake the precept to restrain from consuming intoxicating drinks and drugs which lead to carelessness.
I undertake the precept to refrain from consuming intoxicating drink and drugs which lead to carelessness.
Imani pancha sikkhapadani sailena sukitung yanti sailena phukasambada sailena niputung yanti tasma silang visodhaye. These are the 5 precepts. Virtuous is the source of happiness. Virtuous is the source of true will. Virtuous is the source of peacefulness. These 4 let virtues be purified.
Satu, satu, satu.
Anumodami. So,
Oh,
should I have a short remind of the 5 precepts? I think everyone of the Buddhism know this is the rule of 5 things that we're supposed to do in our living life. Sikkhapada is training. This word for us to train, so we must abstain our mind to have mindful that you will take the 5 precepts. In the amount of those 5, one is really connect to all the actions of living. What is that I think and I want to say in this moment here, which is the lying. When we lying once, we need to cover our lie again and again. And those actions that we keeping, it carry us more and more chain. And as we see, when we lying, when people catch up what we lying, we kind of try to cover that. Or when we cover this, it feel like you having a rock over your shoulder, getting more heavy and heavy. And when this come getting more heavy, it becomes stressful of your body, your mind. I think that most the things can happen to us. So by speaking the truth and not lying, you have more confidence, you feel more free, happy, and you never get angry fast. The thing that when you try to cover the thing of the lying, make you become anger faster, and those are the things people become stressful. Like example, like in this 5 precepts, we say that not to drinking. If one people try to drink and then try to come home, get worse, and try to lie to the family, not just one drink, he might be driving and hit some kid on the road. So second liar. And all this action, it become heavy. So by taking the 5 precepts, which is we can live in a good thing, and that leading us to the light that you have peaceful and happiness in the way of living. So I think that's all I can just remind. So we try to live with all this kind of 5 precepts. And thank you for listening to me, as I'm not really know how to speak English well. So thank you very much, and hopefully that you practice this 5 precepts here well for your living. Thank you so much.
satu, satu, satu. Thank you, Venerable.
Thank you.
So, looks like a good number of people have arrived, and there's a beautiful meal happening over in the meal dana area, getting set up. The next thing will be a Buddha puja. When they're ready with the offering over there, they can bring the Buddha puja tray. So this is a little selection from each dish that's being offered is being put on the tray. The tray will come by and each person can put their hands on it to contribute to the offering, to join in the merits. And then that will be brought up to the Buddha altar here. And then we'll do the Buddha Puja chanting after that. And I'm going to lead in that. So I invite, when the Buddha Puja is ready, that it can come out, and each person is welcome to touch that dish and put your blessings in it. So we're all joining together in this wonderful offering. All right. All right, I hear we're waiting for one more person who's bringing a very important dish that we want to be able to have involved in the Buddha Puja. So welcome to sit and practice meditation for a few minutes while we get this Buddha Puja ready. And after that, we'll have the Buddha Puja chanting and then the meal offering for everyone. Okay, all right, good. I see a beautiful line of people gathering. And we're going to be reciting Iti Piso while the Buddha Puja dish is coming out. Samma Sambuddho Vichacharana Sampanno Sugato Lokavidu Anuttaro Purisa Dhammasarati Sattva Deva Manusanang Buddho Bhagavati Swakato Bhagavata Dhammo Santitiko Akariko Ehipasiko Opanayiko Pacatang Veditapo Vinyuhiti. Come. Supatipanno Bhagavato Savaka Sangho Ujupatipanno Bhagavato Savaka Sangho Nyayapatipanno Bhagavato Savaka Sangho Samijipatipanno Bhagavato Savaka Sangho Yadidang Chattari Bodhisayukani Atta Bodhisabogala Esa Bhagavato Savaka Sangho Ahuneyo Pahuneyo Dakineyo Anjali Karaniyo Anuttarang Punya Ketang Lokasati. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Okay. Okay. Yes. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Thank you to the kids for that. That's beautiful. Okay, so we'll now do the Buddha Puja chanting. So you're welcome to take your seats. We're going to do this in call and response style. So take your seats. These seats on the side of the Dhanasala are also available. Those are not reserved. You're welcome to sit there. Okay. It's on, if you have a red book, it's on page 203. But we're going to do it call and response. And I think a number of people should know this already. Okay, so welcome to everybody. We're going to do call and response style Buddha Puja. I'll say Namo Tassa 3 times. You can repeat after me 3 times. Namo Tassa Bhagavato Arahato Samma Sambuddhassa. Namo Tassa Bhagavato Arahato Samma Sambuddhassa. Namo Tassa Bhagavato Arahato Samma Sambuddhassa.
Namo tassa bhagavato arahato sama
together, yeah.
sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato sama sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato sama sambuddhassa.
So we have here food and lights and candles and flowers, and we're dedicating all of this to the Buddha together with these verses. Nivedayami sambuddhang.
Nivedayami sambuddhang.
Vitaragang mahamuning.
Viragang mahamuning.
Nimantayami sugata.
Nimantayami sukata.
Bodhipanya tathagata.
Bodhipanya tathagata.
Ghanasarapaditena.
Karasana paditena.
Dipena tamadhangsina.
Dipena tamang tangsina.
Tilokadipang sambuddhang.
Tilokadipang sambuddhang.
Pujayami tamonudang.
Pujayami tamodumang.
Gandha sambhara yuttena.
Ganta sampara yutena.
Dhupena hang sugandhina.
Dupe hanggu sangkina.
Pujaye pujaneyantang.
Pujayena pujaneyantang.
Puja bhajanang uttamang.
Puja bhajanang uttamang.
Vannagandha gunopetang.
Vandagantha pugunopetang.
Etang kusuma santating.
Ekang kusamang santatin.
Pujayami munindasa.
Pujayami munistasa.
Siripada sororuhe.
Siripada saroruhe.
Pujemi buddhang kusumena nena.
Pujemi buddhang kusumena nena.
Punyena etena chahotu mokhang.
Punyena ete chahotu mukhang.
Puphang milaya tiyatha idang me.
Bhutang milayati yatha idang me.
Kayo tatayati vinasabhavang.
Gayo thaya yati viyan sakwa pavang.
Ativase tu no bhante.
Atinase tino pante.
Bhojanang parikapitang.
Bojinang katipasitan.
Anukampang upadaya.
Anukampang upadaya.
Patiganha tu uttama.
Patikan hatu utama.
Adhivase tu no bhante.
Adhivase tino pante.
Paniyang parikapitang.
Pariyang parikapitang.
Anukampang upadaya.
Anukampang upadaya.
Patiganha tu uttama.
Bagihanta uttama.
Akasatta cha bhummata.
Agasattha ca bhumhata.
Devanaga mahiddhika.
Devanaga mahitika.
Punyang tang anumoditva.
Punyantang anumoditva.
Chirang rakhantu sasanang.
Tirang rakhantu sasanang.
Chirang rakhantu resanang.
Jirang rakhantu desanang.
Chirang rakhantu mang parang.
Jirang rakhantu mang parang.
Etavata cha amhehi.
Etavata ca amhehi.
Sambhatang punya sampadang.
Sampadang punya sampadang.
Sabbe dewa hanumodantu.
Sabe deva anumodantu.
Sabbe bhuta hanumodantu.
Sabe buddha anumodantu.
Sabbe satta anumodantu.
Sabe satta anumodantu.
Sabba sampati siddhiya.
Sapa sampati siddhiya.
Kayena vacha cittena.
Kayena vaca cittena.
Pamadena maya katang.
Pamadena maya katang.
Achayang kamame bhante.
Acayang kamame bante.
Bhori panya tathagata.
Puri panya tathagata.
Achayang kamame dhamma.
Acayang kamame dhamma.
Sandithika akalika.
Santitika akalika.
Achayang kamame sangha.
Acayang kamame sangha.
Supatipanna anuttara.
Supatipanna anuttara.
Sadhu,
Sadhu, sadhu.
Okay, thank you everyone for joining together in that. We have dedicated these offerings to the Buddha that all of you had a chance to put your hands on. We've asked all the beings around to rejoice together with us in being able to offer this wonderful meal, this wonderful day. And we've asked forgiveness of the Buddha, Dhamma, and Sangha so that we can be clean and clear in our hearts as we go into the meal offering time. So that would be now. This is if the meal is ready. Is it? I see Lal there. It's ready, Sadhu. Okay, we'll take that as an invitation to that the monastics may come and receive the meal. So we'll go line up over there. Hopefully those who are sewing have gotten the message and are also lining up. We'll take a minute for the monastics to assemble over there. Also, anyone who would like to help with the meal offering to the Sangha would be welcome to come over there. And we'll meet you all there in a minute.
Let's go the other way.
Right on time. Hurry up.
So this is the time for those who would like to offer the food to line up along one side of each of those long tables. Okay.
Yes, where our community is ready to offer dana, please kindly accept our offering.
Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Yes. Okay, got it. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. All right. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Okay.
If any of the people here have a special
Okay, sorry.
wish
Looks like
or
we're
a
staying-
dedication of merit that you would like to mention, sharing your happiness with others. It's
Okay.
on. Hello, can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Okay, I'm going to turn it up. Hang on.
Welcome to keep in your heart the names of those special beings, the ones who you love and care about, the ones who you are concerned about. If you may thinking of all of the beings in the whole world, all the beings who are sick, all the beings who have suffering from disease, all who are suffering from some loss or sadness, all of those who are striving to awaken, whatever is the thought that you have, and whether it be particular people, your own near and dear, your relatives, your deceased relatives, please think of all of them. Think of the power of the merit of what you are doing today, and letting that power flow down as surely as the water flows from the mountain down to the ocean. So the merits that you do will go to the benefit of those who you think of. So now we will be doing the chanting.
Like to dedicate. I would like to make dedication to all those supported during this last 3 months. Today is the ceremony of the Kathina. There have been so many families made this possible. This was a time. I'd like to remember all of them and share these merits with all of them and their family members, and also all of our parents, relative, Kalyana Mitra in the Sansara. Let's share this merits with all beings. Thank you.
Two.
Are we chanting first and then receiving? Yata Varva Pura Paripurandisagaram Evam Itodinam Hedanam Upakati Ichitang Patitang Tumham Kipameva Saminjatu Sambe Purantu Sankapa Chando Panaraso Yata Mani Joti Rasoyata
Savityo vivajantu sabarogo vinasatu mate bhavatwantarayo sukhi dikayuko bhavahapiva danasili sanicang Wudha pachayino jataro dhamma vadhanti ayuvanno sukhang balang
Bhavatu Sabbamangalam
Rakhantu sabadevata sabbabuddhanubhavena Bhavantu te
Bhavatu sabba mangalang rakantu sabba devata sabba dhammanubhavena sarasoti bhavantu te bhavatu sabba mangalang rakantu sabba devata sabba sanghanubhavena Sadasoti bhavantu te.
Sadhu, sadhu.
Sadhu, sadhu. Okay. So then the bhikkhunis will receive their meal and we'll let Ayatoloka's bowl go first. And after we've received, then all of you are welcome to join us. The plates and utensils are underneath the tables there. I think they haven't been pulled out for you yet, but they are available. And for those online, we will be taking a break during this lunch offering and eating time, and we will return at 1:30 p.m. So signing off now for the online group.